Hi guys, welcome back to another eating on a budget video. I just finished up writing out my grocery list, so I'm about to head out the door here to go grocery shopping at Aldi. And if you are new to my eating on a budget series, basically what I do is I take you grocery shopping with me, I give you a grocery haul, and I cook a week's worth of budget friendly meals. Which, speaking of new, if you are new here, welcome here. My name's Alora and I make all things motherhood, faith, and lifestyle. Something my husband and I are actively working towards is financial freedom. And one of the ways we are achieving that is by eating on a budget, shopping at Aldi, and just keeping our grocery bill in general pretty low each month. 90% of the time we cook from home, and so I like to kind of get creative when I can, just so it doesn't feel so repetitive. And so I'm here to offer lots of ideas without breaking the bank, and just to show you that you can absolutely eat on a budget while still having lots of variety while doing so. I'm really excited to show you guys the meals I have planned this week, but before I do that, I of course need to go shopping for all the food. One of the things I do before I go grocery shopping is I essentially shop my kitchen. I look through each cupboard, I look through the entire fridge, and I see what do I have and what do I need, and I make my grocery list from there. Shopping my kitchen first always reduces food waste, therefore saving me money. Now I noticed that we are pretty well stocked on our meat, so I don't need to buy too much this week, which means my grocery bill will just be lower because meat is usually a good chunk of my grocery bill each week. I have plenty of chicken breasts in the freezer, like enough to last us probably the next 2 weeks. I am going to buy one more pack of ground beef just to have a little extra in the freezer just in case. And then the only other meat I need to buy besides the ground beef is another pack of sausage links because that's typically what we eat in the morning. So I already have a feeling like this grocery trip is going to be cheaper than others just because I have a lot less meat that I need to buy, but there are still quite a few things I need to purchase on this trip. So I'm going to quit yapping. I'm going to head to Aldi and do all my grocery shopping, and I will pick you guys back up for the grocery haul. That grocery trip was a success. I got everything on my list and I did not go off of my list, so I'm very proud of myself for that, especially because it's the fall season and all the fall goodies are very, very tempting. I'm going to get into this grocery haul. I will have the prices of everything displayed right here on the screen, and I will share the grand total at the very end. I am going to start off with the colder items just so I can get them into the fridge, and then we'll move on to more of the pantry staples. I got some whole milk and half, hazelnut creamer and pizza dough for a Friday night pizza night, butter and cream cheese, a tub of my very favorite chocolate ice cream, some garlic toast to go with the soup I'm making this week, and then also some yogurt tubes. My kids love these frozen and it's just a great go-to snack. A block of Parmesan for various recipes, and then also some sliced provolone for the Philly cheesesteak sandwiches this week. I got some chip dip and then obviously the chips that go with it. And then these are the meats I purchased this week, some sausage links and also ground beef. I got a bag of frozen cheese ravioli. This is for dinner this week. And then I have 2 bags of frozen broccoli for sides, a pack of green peppers, and then a bag of garden salad mix, 2 packages of baby bella mushrooms, 2 Roma tomatoes, and a carton of strawberries, some apples and bananas. That is all of the colder items. Now let's move on to more of the pantry staples. I got some cereal for my husband, and then these box of soft baked bars. This is a great snack for on the go. A bag of cheese puffs, of course, and then these cinnamon apple straws. These are really good and my kids love them. I got a box of mac and cheese and some coffee beans. I did get a bottle of some dry white wine. It's this kind. I don't know how you pronounce that. I feel like I need to explain for my friends and family watching. I do not drink this. I cook with this, and I got this for a recipe that needed this kind, however you pronounce it. So I got a bottle of this, a bag of deli rolls, and then some minced garlic. And then lastly, I needed to restock on some of my seasonings, so I got 2 things of garlic powder and 1 thing of onion powder. That is the end of my grocery haul. The grand total came out to be $91.99. Not too shabby for a week's worth of food. I will pick you guys back up this evening when I cook tonight's dinner. Tonight for dinner, I'm making the soup version of a comfort classic, and that is chicken pot pie soup. With it being fall, that means it's officially soup season, so I'm going to try to get in all of the soup recipes that I can here the next few months while the weather is colder. So if you check out my October meal plan, you're going to see a lot more soup recipes. In terms of this soup recipe, I'm going to get started off by dicing the onion and peeling and cutting the potatoes, and then we'll just get started from there. I have my potatoes and onions cut up. I just put the potatoes in a bowl of water so it doesn't turn brown. I'm going to get started on cooking up my chicken breast. So I'm just going to cook everything in one soup pot. I have this soup pot. It does cook unevenly, but it's my only stainless steel soup pot. So we're just going to use that and hope that nothing burns at the bottom. I am going to be baking some garlic bread that I bought today. That's going to be the side. This dinner should come together fairly quick, and it's super yummy, hearty, and super filling. While I saute the onions, I did want to add that I seasoned my chicken breast with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. It doesn't say that in the recipe that I'm going to be linking down below. That's just something I added because extra seasonings never hurt anyone. So if you'd like to do that with your chicken, if you do make this recipe, I think that would be great added flavor. Once these onions are soft, I'm going to then saute a little bit of garlic. What I love about this recipe is that the majority of the veggies is actually just a bag of mixed veggies. So us mamas know how nice and convenient it is just to throw a bag of mixed veggies into whatever recipe. So if you are a busy mama or just a busy person in general, this recipe is great for you. Before I add the rest of the ingredients, I'm just going to allow the potatoes to cook in the broth until they get soft, and then once they're soft, that's when I will add in the chicken, the mixed veggies, and a little bit of half and half. In the meantime, I am going to dice up this cooked chicken. It looks and it smells really good, so I know this is going to add a ton of flavor to the soup. And then also I'm going to get the oven preheated to bake up some of this garlic toast, and then dinner will be ready. I should also add that I'm just going to stir the soup every so often just to make sure nothing's like sticking to the bottom of the pan. making a skillet ravioli, and it just feels perfect on this very gloomy day. Since this morning it has been nothing but rain, so this dish feels very fitting for the kind of weather that there is outside. I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up, but the dishwasher is running in the background and it's making a noise, so if you hear that, just ignore that. A few things I want to note about this dish is that one, it is meatless, but you are more than welcome to cook up some ground beef with this meal. I would probably cook the ground beef when you cook the mushrooms, which, speaking of mushrooms, this meal does have mushrooms in it, so if you are not a mushroom fan, just keep it out. Or you could always replace the mushrooms with some diced onion. So this meal is very versatile. Don't feel like you have to do it exactly how I do it. Obviously make it to where your family will eat it. To start off this recipe, I'm going to begin by washing and slicing the mushrooms and then sauteing that from there. While the mushrooms are sauteing, I'm going to just dice up 2 Roma tomatoes. The recipe calls for canned tomatoes, but I always just buy Roma and dice them up myself. So once the mushrooms have fully sauteed, I'm just going to add a little bit of minced garlic and saute that up. And then from there, I'll be adding in the marinara sauce, the tomatoes, seasonings, and then also, let me show you my ravioli. I'm just going to be using some frozen cheese ravioli. You can definitely use refrigerated, but I think the frozen is just a little bit cheaper. Because I'm using frozen ravioli, I'll have to cook it in the sauce just a little bit longer than if I were to use refrigerated. Also, welcome to the evening chaos. Covered the skillet with a lid. This is going to allow the ravioli to really cook through, especially since I'm using frozen. So while this is thawing and cooking, I'm going to shred up some mozzarella cheese and also some Parmesan cheese because we'll be using both of those cheeses. I'm also going to be serving this dinner with a side salad. So I'm going to take some of that shredded Parmesan and top it on our side salads as well. So it's going to be dual purpose. Also, while this is cooking, I'm just going to stir it every so often just to constantly be coating the ravioli with the sauce. And then basically once that's done and I top it with cheese, dinner is ready. Woke up a little bit under the weather today, but thankfully tonight's dinner is super simple and comes together in no time. I just put some broccoli into the oven to roast. That's going to be our side for tonight. Now I will begin the ground beef Philly cheesesteak. So basically just like a quick rundown as to how to make the ground beef Philly cheesesteak. You obviously need some ground beef. Now the recipe I will be linking down below calls for 2 pounds of ground beef. That is a whole lot of ground beef. I'm just going to cook up 1 pound and call it good. And then I also need to dice up this onion and then this bell pepper, and I'm going to be sauteing that up with the ground beef. And then you add some seasonings, a little bit of cream cheese, a little bit of milk, and that's literally it. That's how you make the filling. And then I need to toast up some of these deli rolls. I'm just probably gonna toast that in my air fryer. And that's pretty much dinner. It's very easy, very straightforward. I probably won't talk with you guys much today just because I did wake up feeling a little sick and just under the weather. It's just a head cold, but it feels like a very, very miserable head cold. put these into the air fryer, I'm going to spritz them with a little bit of olive oil just to ensure that they get nice and toasty. And I wanted to make mention of my air fryer. This is called the Our Place air fryer. I just got it like maybe a month ago, a couple weeks ago. I love it. Obviously, I'm only a month in, so I can't tell you how like good its lifespan is. But as of right now, in the short term, I absolutely love this air fryer. So if you're in the market, definitely check out the Our Place. I got the color Spice, but there's also other more neutral colors if bolder colors aren't your style. Once the buns are toasted, I'm going to take them out, add the meat filling onto the bun, and then top it with some provolone cheese. Put it back into the air fryer just to melt the cheese a little bit, and then after that, dinner is pretty much ready to go. Fancy tonight, guys. Tonight's recipe is like fine dining, but in your own home and on a budget. I am making a chicken and mushroom gravy recipe. It's essentially just pan-fried chicken breast, mushrooms, and a gravy. It's really good. Normally with a recipe like this, I make mashed potatoes, but I have one child that will not eat mashed potatoes. They love French fries, they love tater tots, but they refuse to eat mashed potatoes. So I think I'm going to pivot tonight and make buttered noodles. Part of me was catering to my one child who refuses to eat mashed potatoes, but then there's another part of me that I myself love buttered noodles, and I'm totally gonna pig out on that as well. So I'm going to be making some buttered noodles with this tonight, and also I'm going to be baking some green beans here in my air fryer. I'll be baking just half a bag of this, just since I'm gonna have butter noodles with it. We don't need a ton of veggies. On a night where it's not a 3-course meal, I usually do a whole bag of veggies, but because I'm making the chicken and also the butter noodles, I'm only going to do half a bag of this, and half a bag of these green beans will definitely fit into my air fryer. So this avoids having to turn on my entire oven for literally just a half a bag of green beans. Now I will say that there is a lot of steps to this recipe. It's definitely a labor of love, but it is so worth it. So this recipe might not be the best for a really busy night, but if you do have a little bit more time on your hands on a certain evening, this is a great recipe to make for your family. I'm just going to start off by prepping everything. I'm going to pre-measure things. I'm going to slice the mushrooms up. I'm going to dredge the chicken in the flour, just so that this is a very seamless cooking process, because like I mentioned earlier, there is quite a few steps to it. So just to kind of give a quick rundown of how I'm going to be doing things, I'm going to be cooking the mushrooms and chicken first. That gets removed to a plate. Then you get started on the gravy. While the gravy is just simmering on the stove, that's when I'm going to get started on putting my green beans into my air fryer, and also getting started on my buttered noodles. To be bringing the gravy to a boil and then putting it on low and allowing it to simmer on the stove for about 10 minutes. Here is the chicken and the mushrooms. I will be adding this in at the very end once the gravy is all done. While that simmers on the stove, I'm going to get started on the butter noodles and the green beans. I also want to mention that I cut this chicken and mushroom recipe in half just because I didn't want a ton of gravy left over since I'm not having mashed potatoes. So it's definitely not gonna look like a ton of gravy in the pan, and that was intentional. If I was making mashed potatoes with this recipe, I wouldn't have cut the gravy recipe in half. So I just wanted to make mention of that. The butter noodles are done. The green beans are almost done. I'm now going to finish out the gravy. All I need to do is add a little bit of cornstarch. This is just cornstarch and water. Add a little bit of that to thicken it up. I'm also going to add a little bit of cream in here. And then from there, I have to add in the mushrooms and the chicken, and then dinner will be done. Made it to Friday, which means Friday night pizza night. And for the pizza tonight, I am making a slices and sticks pizza, which if you have a Little Caesars in your area, you might have seen it advertised there. But it's basically half cheesy breadsticks and half pizza. I just put the bacon in the oven. I'm going to cook that up, and that's just going to be the topping for tonight. I just wanted to keep it simple, so we're just going to have one topping tonight, but you can definitely do however much toppings you'd like to have for your pizza. While the bacon is cooking, I'm going to roll out the dough. Now what I'm going to do in terms of the dough is make the breadstick side a little bit thicker than the pizza side. I don't want the breadsticks to get too crunchy, so that's going to be my game plan in terms of that. I don't have exact measurements when it comes to this pizza breadstick duo. It's kind of measure with your heart type thing, but that's the beautiful thing about making a homemade pizza is you add things to your liking. I just pulled the bacon out of the oven. I need to wipe off the grease and then crumble it into pieces. Over here's the rest of the pizza toppings. I have some marinara sauce and shredded mozzarella. So this side is the pizza side. It is thinner than the breadstick side. I tried to create a line using the rolling pin so that I know which side is which. Over here I have the garlic butter ingredients. I have this bowl to melt this butter in, and then to the bowl I'll add some minced garlic, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and a little bit of salt. I'm just going to measure with my heart in terms of that. And then in here I have some shredded Parmesan cheese that I will then add on top of the melted butter. And that's how I'm going to be making my cheesy breadsticks. This is basically the overview of everything I'm going to do. And then once I basically assemble everything, I'm going to bake it for like roughly 20 minutes. I'm going to get started assembling this pizza, and then dinner should be pretty much ready from there. I will have all the recipes that I made this week linked down below, along with my October meal plan that offers a month's worth of meals. So if you need some variety or just some new meal ideas, be sure to check that out. Let me know in the comments if you try out any of these recipes. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to stick around, be sure to subscribe down below, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, friends.